Devaya. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsingadev, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, Gaunitai, Tulsi Madani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, and Guru Maharaj and the assembled devotees. So, continuing on with chapter 9 of Canto 3, conversation between Maitri Rishi and Vidur. So, Brahma's prayers for creative energy. Brahma establishes the all-merciful Lord as supreme, appreciating the opportunities to take shelter of him. So this is nice. We also, on a daily basis, have this opportunity to take shelter of the Lord. And we should try to do that as much as we can. My dear Lord, thank you so much for everything you do for us. We take shelter of him. Please guide me to understand you better. He glorifies his eternal form, full of bliss and knowledge, free from material contamination, and says that those who hear of his lotus feet from the Vedas accept his devotional service. For them, he is never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Brahma laments for those who neglect Krishna's shelter and thus perpetually suffer material miseries due to their attachment to the perishable conceptions of my and mine. This is the biggest problem in this world. We're attached to so many things, possessions, family, wealth, knowledge, and we cannot rise above those attachments to take shelter of Krishna. Describing the Supreme Lord's mercy, how he can be seen through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and how he resides in his devotees' hearts in the form they desire. So this is the mercy of the Lord. If the devotee wants to worship the Lord in a certain way, he will allow that. Brahma glorifies the Lord, taking shelter of him. He is not so pleased with demigods who worship him for material benefits. He is happy with devotees and unavailable to the non-devotees. The Lord acts as time to foil all plans of materialistic people. This world, as we often say, is perfectly imperfect. No matter how much we try to become happy by collecting possessions, we're always bound to fail because of death. So we'll never succeed in this world. So it's perfectly imperfect. It's meant to be that way. In fact, there was a scientist from Harvard today, I was reading how he was analyzing that God must exist because there's the matter and the antimatter in this universe are so precise. It can only be done by design. This is very interesting. This was a scientist from Harvard. I've forgotten his name now. But anyway, so praying to the Lord for the ability to create, Brahma begs the Lord to protect him from fall down due to pride and deviation. He prayed that the Lord uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. Seeing Brahma is anxious and depressed due to seeing the water of devastation, the Lord reassures him. What he is begging for has already been granted. He reassures him that by practicing penance and meditation in devotional service, he would gain transcendental vision, self-realization, being able to create and be protected from illusion. So simply just doing bhakti, we can attain everything. The Lord also advises that when he is free from the bodily conception and when his senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, he will realize his spiritual form. At that time, he will be situated in pure consciousness. He's also assured that the Rajaguna will not bind him. So this Rajagun, mode of passion, will not bind him. Because he is in charge of the mode of passion, Lord Brahma. But it doesn't mean he doesn't get consumed by it. But Lord is assuring him, don't worry, you will not be bound by it. Even though he's engaged in creation. The Lord also states, although I am not easily knowable by the conditioned soul, you have known me today because you know that my personality is not constituted of anything material. So this is a very nice point. We simply have to understand that God is spiritual, completely spiritual. He can do anything with any part of his body. Not a part of his body is material or impure. It's completely pure consciousness. Our body is different from our soul because the body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. But Lord's body is completely spiritual. The Lord assures Brahma that by his causeless mercy, Brahma was able to offer praise, perform penances, and attain firm faith in him. So it's only the Lord's mercy that we can do anything. That humility is good to develop. If we're thinking, I am the doer, I have done this, then we're going to have a problem. The Lord then offered Brahma all benedictions, which are also open to anyone who will offer prayers and worship the Lord as Lord Brahma did. The ultimate goal of performing all transcendental good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke the Lord's satisfaction. We're only doing this to please the Lord. However, unfortunately, people are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to the Lord only. After instructing Brahma in this way, he disappeared. So these are phenomenal instructions, very inspiring for us. And good to hear again and again. So, chapter 10. It's called Divisions of the Creation. So again, we're going to get a little technical. Vidur inquired from Brahma, inquired how Brahma created the bodies of the living entities from his own body and mind. Maitreya enthusiastically answered, Brahma engaged himself in penance of devotional service for 100 celestial years. Then Brahma, having matured in practical knowledge, drank the wind and water of devastation that threatened his possession. After that, he divided the lotus roll, that's the lotus, middle of the lotus, eventually into the 14 planetary systems. So, first thing he did. Maitreya spoke about time in different, in several times in chapter 8. So Vidur asked him about eternal time. Maitreya describes the characteristics of time, the source of interaction of the modes, the lack of attributes, and hence imperceptible. Time is imperceptible, it just moves forward, it's limitless, without beginning or end. So he's already talking about time. It separates the material energy from the Lord. It divides the universe into various battery systems, planetary systems, that should be planetary systems. Unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord. So time is regarded as the formless aspect of God, objective manifestation or representative of God. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am time, destroyer of all three worlds. That's in the 11th chapter. It causes the universe to appear in the present as it was in the past and shall be in the future. Having described time in general, Maitreya will describe time in detail in chapter 11. And then Sarga, which is the primary, and Visarga is the secondary creations. There's three types of annihilation, destruction. There's eternal time, the material elements, the quality of one's work. So these are the types of destruction: eternal time, quality of work. Sorry, what's the second one? Material elements. So time destroys all universes. Material elements is destroyed due to material elements by the fire of Sankarasan, and qualities consumes one's body. Kala, time ends at the end of Brahma's life, and material elements end Brahma's life. Gunas ends at when one's body ends. There are 10 types of creation, of which 6 are natural creation and is created by the external energy of the Lord. Mahatattva, we've talked about the material elements together, false ego, sense perception elements, knowledge and working capacity, demigods and the mind, and finally the ignorant darkness of the living entities. So these are the 10, the types of creation. 6 of these are natural creations. In the secondary creation, Lord Brahma utilizes the Lord's ingredients to create various bodies for the living entities. Immovable, that's plant. Lower, that's the animals and the birds. The humans, the demigods. So these are the 4 types of secondary creation. So in the plants, there are conscious, unconscious. It's quite detailed. Talks about different plants, the bamboo as well. Lower species, those who are preoccupied by sleeping and eating, understand their needs only through smell. There's the 2 hooves, there's so many different types. Humans, only one type. Demigods, many types. Vibhutas, Pitru, Asuras are counted as within the demigod category. They've got special powers. They're just not devoted to God. That's the only difference. Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, Bhutas, Pretas, Pisasas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas. So there are different types of demigods. Very interesting this. Sometimes we think there's only one type of demigod, but actually there are different types of demigods. So these are all created by Brahma to give a variety in this material world. Then Maitreya Rishi describes the descendants of the Manus and the time. So this is Maitreya Rishi was requested some time back by Vidur to describe the Manus. Chapter 11. Again, this is going to be quite technical. Calculation of time from the atom. Atoms to orbits. Firstly, Maitreya describes the divisions of matter as time and matter. Time and space are 2 correlative terms, as time is measured in the terms of its covering a certain amount of space of atoms by the movement of the sun. So time is defined by the movement of the sun, basically. The atom, Paramanu, is material manifestation's ultimate smallest particle, which is indivisible and invisible. So the atom is not possible to see. There are innumerable such particles. The totality of all atoms is regarded to be the greatest particle of matter, Parama Mahan. Just as matter has small and big divisions, time also has similar divisions. Time is potency of the operating load. Atomic time is measured by the movement of items, which expands to months, seasons, and years. Our month is equal to a day and night on Pritulok. So in the planets of the Devatas, their one day and one night is equal to 1 month here. Sorry, that's the Pritulok. So the Devatas, 1 year is equal to 1 day and night of the demigods. So the Devatas, 1 year, one day of theirs is equal to 1 year of ours. Powerful time measures out the living entities' life and holds the planets in orbit. So our life is dependent on time. Okay, so this is the minutiae of time described here. Starts with the smallest thing, the atom. It lives for a few seconds, double atom, then it goes on to a larger quantity of time. I won't go through all of them because it's very hard to remember. We can look at this one though, muhurta, which is like 1 hour. I thought it was 36 minutes, but anyway, 2 dandas equal to 1 hour. That's interesting. Day and night, 24 hours, fortnight, 15 days, month is 30 days, seasons are 2 months. Usually there's 6 seasons in Bharatiya calendar. And then we have the movement of the sun from north to the south, south to the north, 6 months. And 1 year is one complete cycle of the movement of the sun. So time is described in a lot of detail. The sun should be worshipped every 5 years, as it enlivens us with its heat and light, whilst reducing the duration of our lives, and thus our release from material illusion. The 4 ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, together last over 4,320,000 human years and is equal to 12,000 years of the demigods. Over the course of the ages, religious principles gradually decline. So Satya Yuga to Treta Yuga, there's a decline in religious principles, as there is from the move to Dwapar Yuga, and of course in Kali Yuga it gets really bad. So again, this is a little technical, but this is a manvantara. One manvantara consists of 71 mahayugs. What is a mahayug? It's the 4 ages together. One mahayug is Satyayug, Tretayug, Dwapayug, Kaliyug, totaling is 4.3 million. So Satyayug lasts 1.7 million, Tretayug is 1.3 million, Dwapa is 864,000 years, Kali is 432,000. The life of one Manu, Manvantara, is therefore 306 million, 306,720,000 years. That's the life of one Manu. And a kalpa is basically a 12-hour day time of Brahma is equal to 10 of these years. Is it 10 or 1,000? 1,000 of these, 1,000 yugs. So 4.32 billion years long. That's 12 hours of Brahma. There are 14 Manus in a 12-hour day of Brahma. It's 14 Manus in a day of Brahma. And include all the Sandhyas, which are the gaps between the ages, is equal to 4.32 billion years. So this is the 12 hours of Brahma.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry to disturb. I forgot what was Manus.
Manus are like the fathers of mankind. Fathers.
They are
Like
all okay.
they sort of procreate. They make the numbers of population high through their children, basically.
All right. And when you said these billion years is to do with the yugs.
Well, yes, these are the yugs. One Mahayug is all of these four yugas together,
All
and is
right.
equal to 4.3 million years.
All
One
right.
Mahayug.
Mahayug. One Mahayug.
One
Okay.
Mahayug. And we're in Kali Yuga at the moment.
All
This one.
right. This one. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Carry
you.
on. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hare
So this is
Krishna.
1,000 yugas, 994 Mahayugs, and 6 Sandhyas. So Krishna does mention these 1,000 yugas in the Bhagavad Gita. This is where it comes from. 1,000 times the four yugas comprise a day of Brahma, and another 1,000 yugas are his night. So it's a very long period of time compared to our lives. The creation is manifest and active during his day, and 14 Manus rule the universe during that time. So in one day, 14 Manus will come. And within the 14 Manus, there are 71 Mahayugs. The ruling time of one Manu is 306 million years, 71 Mahayugs. After the dissolution of each Manu, the next Manu comes along with his descendants who rule over the different planets and the seven famous sages, Saptarishis, and demigods like Indra all appear simultaneously, Manu. And the demigod like Indra is a position. So every yug, every Manu has a different Indra. And they all appear simultaneously with Manu. In each and every change of Manu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears by manifesting his internal potency in different incarnations as Manu and others. So he again comes, he comes as incarnation within each Manvantara. Thus he maintains the universe by discovered power. The Lord in the form of Kalagni, Rudra, destroys the three worlds at the end of Brahma's day. The jivas remain merged in that dissolution and everything is silent. The sun and moon are without glare. During this time, the residents of Mahalok, distressed by the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarasan, move to Janalok. At the beginning of devastation of the oceans, all the oceans swell and cover the three worlds. Garbhadakshay Vishnu remains in that water lying on the Ananta Shesh, being glorified by the sages of Janalok. One's life endures for only 100 years, if we're lucky or unlucky, in terms of time in different planets. Brahma is halfway through his allotted 100 years of life, which, although very long from human calculation, is only a brief moment for the Lord. So his 100 years is equal to 311 trillion 40 billion years. That's one breath of Vishnu. And we are the first day of the 51st year of his life. So this is going to get a little technical. How old is Brahma? Right. Currently, 50 years have passed. We're in the first day of his 51st year. The last kalpa, at the end of the 50th year, is called Padma Kalpa. Since 50 years have passed already, this is the second Paradra, known as Dvitiya Paradra. We are currently in the first day of the 51st year, named as Shweta Varaha Kalpa. It's named after Lord Bohr. Within this day, 6 Manvantaras have already passed. And we are in the 7th Manvantara known as Vaivasvata Manvantara. within this Vaivasvata Manvantara, already 27 Mahayugs have passed. And Satyayug, Dwapayug, Treta and Dwapayug of the 28th Mahayug have elapsed because we're in Kali Yuga. So this Kali Yuga is in the 28th Mahayug. And this Kali Yuga began in the year 3102 BC when Krishna left. So calculating the elapsed time since the current Brahma's creation, it is this number here, 155 trillion, 521 billion years, etc. And the time in Brahmlok now, right now, is 11:28 a.m. So this gives the idea of the vastness of Lord Brahma. And this is just putting that all into a little different format. It's very, very vast. Very hard for us to get our head around this. The first day in the second half of Brahma is known as Varaha Millennium because the personality of God had appeared in that millennium as the hog or the boar incarnation. The duration of the two parts of Brahma's life, as mentioned above, is calculated, is equal to 1 nimisha, less than a second for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's not even a breath. Who is unchanging, unlimited, and is the cause of all causes. So this is the Lord. When he breathes out, a universe comes out. Eternal time controls all living entities in the function of the universe with all its massive coverings. However, time can only control those who are body conscious. So if we are God conscious, if we are connected to God, time cannot control us. Because we are under the shelter of Krishna, who controls time. This is so powerful. This phenomenal universe is expanded to a diameter of 4 billion miles. The layers or elements covering the universes are each 10 times thicker than one before. So we'll see that later. And all the universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination. Yet everything in creation is controlled by the Lord, who is the origin of everything and the original cause of all causes. So this is the point here. All these universes to the Lord are just tiny little atoms. This is his vastness. And Krishna or Maitreya Rishi is showing the greatness of the universe and how tiny we are. How tiny we are. Yet we are thinking we are the center of the universe. Okay, I wanted to stop there. Any questions? Any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Do we have to remember all these years?
No, nothing at all. All we have to remember, the instruction from this is we should always be focused, surrendered to the Lord. That's the only thing we have to remember. Because he's so vast. He's so great.
Right.
And if we simply appreciate him and
Yes.
everything he's doing for us,
Yeah.
that is surrendering to the Lord. That is that's the best thing we can do.
Yeah. You don't have to remember all these
No,
years.
nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Okay, because it's too much to
It's too
get
much.
in the head.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too vast.
That the billions and billions, see, I don't think I'll able to remember, especially all those zeros in there.
For me, it's fantastic because when I go to the schools, I can give them an idea of the greatness of God, and they are always overwhelmed. Wow.
And the way you can say that 1,000 and billion, I don't know. Maybe I know about. Is it 9 zeros in 1 million or 6 zero in 1 million?
Okay, there is, here it is. So if we look at this, the last 6 digits are are million, right? Here, sorry. This here. This is a million. This is a billion.
Ah,
And this is a trillion. So that's why it's 311 trillion, 40 billion years.
so 60 is
Six
1
zeros is a
million.
million.
Yeah. Then
Nine
90
zeros is a trillion.
trillion.
And 12 zeros is sorry, 9 zeros is a billion. And 12 zeros is a trillion.
Trillion.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Got it. Got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we can stop there.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.